Before I show you how to thread the machine and use the machine, I just want to have a quick talk to you about safety concerns when you're sewing in the studio. It's really important when you're using machinery, and in fact when you're in the studios working at all, it's a requirement that you wear flat covered shoes. This is to protect your foot in case of dropping, if you drop scissors or you drop equipment. You've got something covering the top of your foot that will hopefully prevent you from injuring yourself should something happen. So flat shoes as well are going to work much better on the machines in terms of operating the pedals on the machine. If you've got a heel on, your heel can get caught underneath. It's just not a user-friendly thing to be wearing when you're using machinery in the studios. So always wear flat shoes that are covered over the top, like a boot, an ankle boot or a runner. And if you have problems remembering, then bring a pair in and leave them in your box so that they're always there for you to use. The other thing you need to think about when you're coming into studio and when you're going to be sewing is the type of clothing that you're wearing. It's not a good idea to wear loose flowing sleeves when you're going to be operating machinery, as the sleeves can be caught in the machine and they just get in the way. And the other thing is jewellery, so don't wear a lot of jewellery on your hands when you're going to be operating machinery. Take it off first and then come over to the machine so that your hands are free of clutter. If you've got long hair, it's a good idea to tie it back when you're operating machinery for the same reason. You don't want your hair to get caught in the machine when you're bending in towards it to do some fine work. So think about all those things and hopefully you should be safe in the studio. The other things I want to talk to you about to do with the actual safety on the machine. Now these industrial machines, they have a power switch down here that you switch on. Now it's important when you're doing anything on the machine, like threading it up, threading a needle, changing a bobbin, anything that involves you getting your hands in close to the needle area, it's important that the machine is switched off when you're doing any of these things, just for safety. And you also need to be aware that the machine does store a little bit of residual energy in it. So even after it's switched off, if you've been sewing and you accidentally kick the pedal, there is still a little bit of power there. So it is still possible to prick yourself with a needle if you've got your hand in under the needle area. We try and do everything we can to prevent this from happening. All the machines have needle guards on the presser feet to try and prevent this type of injury from happening. But just be aware that when you're not sewing and you're doing other things on the machine, always have your feet off the pedal and away from the pedal so that you can't accidentally kick it and engage the machine even when it's switched off. So just get into good habits, switch the machine off when you're not sewing, keep your feet off the pedal when you're not sewing. The last thing is to always make sure you have a clear work area to sew when you come to the machine. So only bring things that you really need, like a pair of snips, some pins, your thread and your bobbin, and try and keep your work area fairly clear out here so that you've got room for your garment to be placed when you're sewing. It just helps to stop things getting in the way and prevent accidents from happening.